What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, your girl is so excited because what do we have? We have a new Odens Eye collection for you guys. So I of course picked up both palettes because of course I could not resist. I really couldn't. Who are we kidding? I could not resist picking these up. So I picked up both of them. And of course, as always, if you want to hear more information about the actual packaging, the products, see some swatches, and then see two eye looks, just keep watching. So like I said, I picked up both of the eyeshadow palettes, and both, of course, as always, came perfectly shrink wrapped and then in some really nice packaging. I always appreciate that they're shrink wrapped because I know that's new product that came to me straight from the manufacturer or the, factory, maybe through a third party, but still nobody else got to able to touch the product. So I really do appreciate that. Of course, as always, they have the sleeve and then the actual packaging of the palette pretty much identical. Generally, the only differences are on the back. The back of the sleeve pretty much has all of that unnecessary information that once you've already looked at it, assessed it, you really don't need. And then the back of the actual palette pretty much just has the names of the palettes and then some of the information that you may want to go ahead and keep in mind. So the palettes have slightly different information. So let's just start off with the Jewels and Gems palette. That one has 15 grams or 0.52 ounces. It's made in China, produced in China, and it's distributed through Sleepless P Nordic. You can get it off of the Odens Eye website. It is cruelty free and there's a 36-month shelf life. They also have the lot number in the event that you care. I never really care about that stuff unless there's like a really big snafu. Then that's when I kind of pay attention. As for the Stone and Rock palette, that one has 16 grams of product or 0.56 ounces. It is made in China and of course procured in China. It is distributed through Sleepless P Nordic. Once again, you can purchase it once again on the Odens Eyes website. It is cruelty free, and then once again it has that 36-month shelf life with the lot information on the back as well. Both of these palettes have that really beautiful kind of jeweled effect on the lettering on the front, and then of course the back. They always have nice detailing on the spine of both palettes. These unfortunately don't actually have the name on the spine, it just says Odens Eye, but on some of the palettes they'll literally have the name of the palette, which I truly appreciate. And yeah, I feel like that's the quick and dirty of the packaging and the product. On the screen I will have the price because I absolutely never remember the prices of these things. I do believe that there was a slight increase on the prices of these, but there was a slight increase on everything, in the world at this point. So I kind of just take it and run with it. So yeah, I don't want this part to be too long. Let's just go ahead and dive into the swatches. Of course, I'm going to do overhead swatches where I'm giving you swatches of both of the palettes on my skin tone and my arm, of course, and then I will do comparison swatches on all of the palettes that I have from this brand, both limited edition, available, and not permanent, all of that stuff. So I will have all of that stuff coming up right about now. Alrighty guys, so it is now time to do the swatches for this particular palettes. As you can see, I have both of the palettes, both with their respective sleeves still on. And as always, before I get started in the swatching, I have natural lighting in front of me and then I have my overhead lighting in the back of me. So like I said, this is the front of each sleeve, and then as I said previously, on the back of each sleeve you have the more kind of encompassing information as far as the ingredients and anything else. As far as the swatching, we're just gonna do these exactly how I normally do. I'm gonna swatch these row by row by row, only doing one swipe swatches just so that you guys can see the potential pigmentation on my skin tone. It's really just to show you guys the color and reality, and then to see the pigmentation I would just advise that you stay tuned to watch the tutorials. So yeah, let me just speed this up. I'm gonna put a little bit of background music in the background and I'm just gonna swatch through both of these respective palettes. Alrighty guys, so I've now shown you guys the full swatches of both palettes, and it's definitely interesting to see. You can clearly see that this palette runs deeper in general. So now what I'm gonna do is just fast forward through looking at all of the older palettes that I have from Odens Eye, whether they're collaboration or permanent, and just to see if there's any duplicates. Generally what I do is I talk you guys through this, but I kind of want to make this video a little bit shorter. So as you can see, I have both palettes out, and I'm just going to speed through just showing you guys the items that I choose on my hand and I swatch to compare, and hopefully that just helps to make this a little bit shorter than it normally is. Alrighty guys, so basically I feel like the swatches really told a story, even though originally I thought that these could have potentially been good alternatives for the previous holiday palettes. I still do feel that, but you can clearly see that there's no full-on dupes. The closest palette that had even a handful of dupes would have been the Wolves palette that was done by Annette's Makeup Corner. So if you don't have that, I don't think that any of these particular shades would be full-on dupes if you had all these palettes from this specific brand. That said, from other brands, from other collections, I don't really know. I can't really tell you that. But from this brand, I would say that, as always, they do a really good job at ensuring that you're not buying the same shade over and over again. So with that said, let's just go ahead and dive into the tutorials, and then at the end I will give you guys my current thoughts after using this palette a few times. Hey guys, so I am here to bring you guys look number 1, and I'm excited. As always, I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with my About Face eyeshadow primer. If you are not new to my channel, and I'm sure I showed you guys swatch comparisons and all of that jazz previously, I am very familiar with the Odens eye formulation, and I'm very familiar with using their formula with this particular primer. So I don't feel as though, you know, there should be any form of surprises. But you never know. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my time blending this out, because I still have difficulty sometimes, and you can see it in the ultimate look. So today I'm gonna actually work with the Jewels and Gems palette, and I'm only gonna do that because yesterday I literally did a green look, and the other palette is pretty much a green eyeshadow palette. It's more neutral. They're both neutral, but there's a lot more greens, whereas this one has some purples. I haven't used purples in quite some time. So yeah, I have not done any swatches. I haven't done any photos. I probably should have done that first, but I decided I was going to play with this product today, or this collection today, and we're just gonna rock with it. So I'm gonna also be testing out my Singe beauty brushes. I've used them now, I want to say once, so I just want to keep testing those out, and everything that is on my face I will have down below for you all in the event that you have any questions, and I will use the exact same products on my base today and tomorrow for both of my 2 looks. So first I'm gonna go in with the Singe EO3, which is their biggest like blending brush, and I am gonna go into the shade Elixir, which is this more pinky purpley shade. I want to see how that works on my skin tone, so I'm just gonna put that in the crease, and already this is looking beautiful, nicely pigmented, saturated. I just opened up my curtain so that all of the sunlight came through, so that it helps you guys to really see what these shadows appear like on my skin tone, and then also, you know, what my skin tone looks like in real life, so that you guys know. If you're curious and you want some foundation matches, I always have a whole list of them down below in the description box. But this shadow is looking beautifully pigmented, nicely saturated. I really like this shade. It's a really beautiful shade. This could be an easy, honestly, 1 and done or 2 and done look with just this particular shadow. Next, I think Sable is more like a brown, but what is this shade? Intoxication is more like a purple, and I think I'm gonna reach more into that purple realm. I'm gonna go with shade Intoxication with the EO5 brush, and I'm really just going to deepen out this outer V area and also see what these shades blended together, what they create. This Intoxication looks a lot more blue based, so this could be interesting. Okay, I don't think this is the right brush for what I'm doing right now. It's just taking a bit of time because the brush is so fine. So I'm gonna switch brushes. I'm gonna switch to their EO2 brush, which is a little bit bigger, and I think will just work better for what I want to do. Now I'm going to switch back to that smaller one, which I think is the EO3, and just put that intoxication shade all down my lower lash line. And then I'm going to go into the bigger shade Elation and just blend that out. And I'm just going to work between these three brushes to get the blend that I want. And then I'm also going to do the exact same thing on my other eye as well. Okay, so far I feel like the crease is coming together quite nicely. It's really beautiful. And I think the two shades that I chose really come together in the middle to create such a beautiful kind of violet purple in between the two shades where it's blended. So I'm very happy about that. There's so many pretty shades that I could play with. Okay, so I'm gonna take their EO4 and I really want to play with this shade, which is Exhilaration. This beautiful purple tone right there. I also think I want to play with Elatedness, this one a little bit as well. So I'm gonna probably mix and match a little bit, but yeah, let's just see what we get. So I'm gonna pick this up with their EO4. I'm not going to spray. I'm not going to spray the brush. I just want to see what the product comes out with. And it looks very sparkly, which is cute, but I already have my base makeup, so I do want to make sure that it really adheres to my eye. So I'm just going to take some setting spray, spray my brush, and then go back in. And that's just saturating that shade so much more than it was offhand. Okay, so I really like how that dark one is at the bottom, kind of creating some effect, bringing the eyes out. Now I'm gonna go into the Elatedness, which is the lighter shade that I really wanted to play with. I'm gonna flip over the EO4 and I'm gonna try again with the brush dry, and if I need to, which I need to, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and spray this brush as well. Okay, that's definitely different than what I was expecting, but it's all good. I'm just gonna do the exact same thing on the other eye. This is a lot more of like a sparkle topper situation than even the other shadow was. A lot more of that more sparkly texture. Why didn't I zoom in? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So now you guys can hopefully see what I'm doing a little bit easier. But this shadow is just so much of a sparkle tone and not necessarily like a metallic, which is why I was trying to spray the brush. And now what I'm gonna try to do is just mix these two shadows a little bit on my eye, just so it's not as stark. They look very starkly separated on my eye, which I just don't necessarily like. So I'm just gonna kind of try to fidget with it without adding any more setting spray, and I'm just gonna just mess around. Okay, I can't do too much because that lighter tone is just flaking all over my face, which I don't particularly like, but we're almost done. Okay, so I'm gonna take the last brush in this set, which is their EO1, and I think for that, to try to bring this whole look together, I'm gonna go into Rhapsody. I feel like that one hopefully will bring this look together. I don't know if it brought the look together. Honestly, I feel like on camera, let me come in closer. I feel like on camera, the inner corner highlight and the lid shade on top, that top shade, they both look very similar, but they're two distinct colors. But that's good to know. It's very good to know. So I'm just gonna throw on some liners very quickly. I know I'm gonna put my LA girl in my tight line. I'll probably try to find like a pinky purple or something to put in my waterline. I'll do my mascara, lashes, all of that, and then I will come back to show you guys the finished look for look number 1. So just give me 1 second. Alright guys, so this is the finished look. Alright guys, so like I said, this is the first finished look with the Jewels and Gem palette, which is of course the more pinky purpley one. I feel like I was really able to come out with a solid purple color. So if you're somebody who gets this palette because you just love Odens eye, but you want to get a full-on purple eye look, this is definitely a product that you can get that with. I will probably try to do a more neutral color scheme, neutral eye look with the Stone and Rock, which is the more green and neutral one. So yeah, that said, that's the end of look number 1. Let's get into look number 2. Alrighty guys, so I'm here to do look number 2. I've already primed my eyes once again with the About Face primer. And of course, this is the palette that we're working with today. And this one is the Stone and Rock. So of course, it's a lot more neutral, bringing in those greens. And we're just going to play again. We are just going to play. I'm going to continue to work with the Singe Beauty eye set, which is Angelica Niquis's brand, and I will have her brand linked down below because I've pretty much only been using these brushes this whole tutorial. But one thing I will be doing today that I did not do the last look is I'll be using my fingers for the eye, the lid shade, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So first things first, let's go ahead and play with this like mustardy brown. You guys know those tend to be my favorite shades in palettes. And I am just going to work that into my crease. I just want to see if it's actually going to show up on my skin tone. Per usual, I have not done swatches, so I don't know if it actually does until your girl puts it on her face. And so far, it's actually showing up nicely. It's giving me a slight deepening to that part of my crease, which I'm not mad at. Let me bring my camera even closer. Okay, so hopefully that's better for y'all. I'm sorry if I'm now too close to the microphone, but kind of comes with the territory. Alrighty, so yeah, I got that nice mustardy brown in the crease. It added like a slight little cast, but in a very beautiful way. I really like that shade. And I think next what I want to do is go ahead and try Exuberance, which is this lighter green right here. And I'm just going to use the exact same brush, which is their E03. I'm just going to bring the starting point down just a little bit. And we'll just see what happens with adding this out here. I'm going to focus it on that outer edge, although I will be slightly bringing it up in the crease and over. And even though this is the same brush, because I'm starting my actual brush handle lower, I'm able to then still get a beautiful blend and a beautiful look going right now. This is coming out very pretty. All right, I'm also going to take the EO5 and I'm just going to bring some of that Jubilee shade down to this lower lash line, just to kind of lighten the edges of the Exuberant shade that I already brought down there. Okay, it really didn't do much, but to my eyes, to my being, it felt like it did much. Okay, so I'm really liking how this is coming out. Let me then play a tinge bit more. I think what I want to do, should I try doing an all matte-ish look? I'm going to try doing an all matte-ish look. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take the Singe E04, okay? And I am going to go into the shade Passion. this beautiful shade right here. And what I'm gonna do is just on the edge of this brush, I am just going to create a faux line with that shimmer. That is going to be the only shimmer that is in the look, just like right there. And the way that I do it, and the way that my eyes have kind of just started to create more of a fold, it's right above that fold. So it's going to be really pretty, and you're going to be able to see it when I close my eyes, which I'm very happy about. Okay, this is coming out good. Then what I'm going to do is take the EO1 and I'm going to go into the shade Madness, and I am going to just pick up as much product as I can, because this is going to be packed right on my lid. And I'm going to go right up to that area that I put Passion. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is just take that bigger brush with just a tinge of exuberance. I just want to make sure that those two shades marry a little bit more, than at least they feel like they are from my side of things. I just want to make sure that that transition is nice. They don't look super stark different, but that's okay. I'm perfectly content with that. And then what I'm gonna do is wipe off that EO1 again, and I'm actually going to go into Fervor, and I'm going to put that right in my inner corner. I was not expecting that. All right, I actually like how this came out. The only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a liner brush, because the Singe collection doesn't really have a liner brush. I know she has some brushes that she can use, but I'm not as skilled as Angie, so I need an actual liner brush. And I am just going to deepen out right above my lash line and right under my lash line. I'm going to go into the shade Passage and just deepen this whole thing up just slightly. This is how she ended up. I think this is a banger look. Let's get in close real quick. Like I said, I feel like today's look is truly a banger. Like, it looks so beautiful. I feel so beautiful with this look today. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed yesterday's look, but I feel like today's look truly was the banger. On the screen right now, I'm just gonna show you a clip, if not a picture, of the look that I did in between each day, in which I actually did a second look for the Jewels palette, and then I'm gonna make it a dedicated effort to do a second look on the Stone and Rock palette, and I will have that on the screen right now as well. What I have learned from, the 3 looks that I have done, and hopefully further solidifying my opinion in the 4th look that I will probably be doing tomorrow, is that these are solid Odens eye formula. Now, as I like to say, I love to kind of compare formulations, and what I will say is that this is their solid post Solmon 2 matte formula. In my opinion, this formula is still not hitting what the Solmon 2 palette gave. I just, for whatever reason, that palette's matte formulas is just like the pinnacle. It is what I hold all of their palettes formulations to, and that has just not been achieved, but that is a very, very high standard. I don't know what they did with that formula, but that has truly been my favorite formula that they have released to date. That stated, this is a solid matte formula that we have here. I love that I was able to not only use the darkest shade, of course, and I actually saw some depth, but the fact that I was able to use that matte white and it showed up so pigmented is crazy. There's so many other times with different formulas that I've tried a matte in my inner corner and it looks stupid. And this can really tell me, just by using this palette today, that this formula is solid. As for the shimmers, I do want to just go ahead and point out that to me, a majority of the shimmers, and once again, I have not done any of the swatches. I like to do the swatches after I do my tutorials and get my thoughts. So my thoughts, I doubt it, but they may change with the swatches, is that a majority of the shimmers in both of the palettes aren't a normal metallic. And I would never say that Odens Eye tended to stick towards metallics. I feel like the last like 3 to 4 palettes, they've really started to add different textures and variety to their metallics. But I will say that in these 2 palettes, in my opinion, the sparkle ratio in these metallics are amped up tremendously. I feel as though if you are somebody who does not like to use a glitter glue, you are going to need to have to use a finger to ensure that you don't get fallout throughout the day. My second look that I used the Gems palette with, I used my finger and there was pretty much no fallout on my cheek, you know, under eye area. But that first day that I did film, and you guys will have seen it in the first tutorial, I used a brush and there was fallout, not only in the application but also throughout the day. So that is just something that I would keep in mind. Definitely know that this is going to be a very sparkly, shimmery, metallic formula, and that some of the formulas are going to be just straight up sparkle. So you're really going to have to pack the formula onto your eye or wherever you want to place it to truly get a nice opaque layer. Otherwise, you're going to get that nice sparkly finish. Like even the shadow that I used in like a faux liner today, it's somewhat of one more on that sparkly side of things. And that's why it's able to create such a beautiful kind of here but not here look, because it's not a super opaque metallic. So please, please, please just keep that in mind. The last thing that I think I referenced the first time I filmed this is that people were mentioning that these 2 palettes are neutral palettes. And I want to just caution you guys on thinking that these palettes are neutral palettes, because to me, they aren't. They may be neutral palettes for the brand, but to me, these are muted, desaturated colors. Now, when I say that because they are quite literally colors. You don't see any browns in here. You see very few neutrals other than what the Stone and Rock, which has this white that I have. There's pretty much no true neutrals. And even white, there's an argument there as to whether that's a neutral or not. But my point in saying is that there's no browns. So if you are somebody who, like me during my everyday normal life, loves to put on just a brown eyeshadow look, I do think that these can add value because these are so desaturated and kind of muted colors. You can slightly put in a green here, a green there, along with your browns, and you can kind of still feel comfortable and confident in your eye look. So I definitely think that these have merit, not only in a neutral lovers collection, but also in mine, particularly in my Odens Eye collection, if we're being honest. But I just wanted to caution you all on thinking that these were true neutral palettes instead of thinking of these as the saturated or muted color eyeshadow palettes. So yeah, I think that's all of the disclaimers I have. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.